Change of pace. Qantas has rewarded outgoing boss Alan Joyce with $10 million in bonus shares for guiding the airline through its post-COVID pandemic recovery. Now, this takes his overall bonus to an eye-watering $24 million. To discuss this and plenty more, I am joined by Bondi Partners Senior Advisor Peter McGauran, as we always do this time. 24 million. It's almost hard to say it's that much.
It is. Much of it is a deferred bonus from the COVID years, but unfortunately it's the worst possible exit for Alan Joyce. He's going out under a cloud. The ACCC has commenced federal court action against Qantas for selling ghost flights and are looking for a $200 million penalty, so I'm afraid his legacy will be tarnished. Yeah. So he can enjoy the cash, Tim, but he can't enjoy a good reputation.
Yeah, how does history remember him?
Look, he does have his supporters who believe he did steer...
Shareholders.
Yeah, investors, exactly. If you're an investor in Qantas, you love Alan Joyce. If you're a customer, you don't.
Absolutely. Well, still on aviation, Qatar being denied extra flights to Australia. This is a big story.
Oh, what a shocker. What a shocker. It's not as if Qantas is the national airline, Tim, which... taxpayers have a vested interest in. It is a private sector airline. Now, what Alan Joyce has always argued to Canberra for decades now, Qantas as a whole, is that the Middle Eastern airlines are subsidised by their countries, Etihad, Emirates and Qatar. And they're right, that's true. But nonetheless, that is the market. All airlines throughout the world have to deal with Middle Eastern airlines. And they provide competition, more seats, lower prices. You can't ban Qatar, especially...
And they're actually good. Anecdotally, people sit on those planes. Yep. I've been on Qatar. I've been on all of them. They're good.
Yep, they're very good. They provide a better economy class experience, I think, than Qantas. So the government can't explain why they blocked the Qatar application for more flights, but we all know it is to protect Qantas. And why are we protecting Qantas? That's the big question. Because it's not as if it's a national airline.
Yeah, we need to protect the consumer, give them more opportunities, give them more options.
Whose side are you on? Are you on Qantas shareholders' side, all due respect in regards to Qantas shareholders, or are you on customers' side?
How much trouble is Anastasia Palace in Queensland? What part of the Qatar story obviously focuses on Brisbane as well, but that's just a sideline issue for her. There's many other things going on.
It does appear that the Palace regime is in its final days. She's overseas on a holiday, and she doesn't appear to have very many or any supporters in her parliamentary party. There's jockeying for power to succeed her. The only thing that could save her, Tim, would be the union movement in Queensland step in behind her, and so far they haven't. And she's suggested from overseas she has health problems. I think she's gone.
The appointment of the New South Wales Transport head has caused a stack of controversy. It continues to rumble along. What do you think? Can Josh Murray stay in this job?
No.
What do you think?
I think eventually he'll have to fall on his sword. You and I 2 weeks ago predicted all this. We said 2 weeks ago it would be a slow burn, there'd be an upper house Legislative Council inquiry, and there would be media interest. The two Sydney newspapers, the Daily Telegraph and the Sydney Morning Herald, have a front page or near front page day after day. Look, Tim, a Transport Minister is entitled to appoint the Director General or Secretary of his or her department if they so choose, and they have to live with that. But unfortunately, there was supposedly an open tendering for this position. There was advertisements put out for it, there are applicants, and the minister intervened. That's what's got them into trouble. They should have just had the courage of their convictions and appointed Mr. Josh Murray as the best qualified person, but instead they rorted the system, and that's what's got them into trouble. I don't know how this finishes. It's dragged the minister down, and now unfortunately it's in court. The Premier, Chris Minns, a good, decent man, who was a former staffer in the Yemma government with this Josh Murray. I think the only way you can short-circuit this is if Josh Murray resigns.
And Joe Halen is a bit of a star for Chris Minns too. He's already had to flip one minister.
Yes, yep. And poor Chris Minns, he's only been in power 3 months. He's lost one cabinet minister and he may lose a second if he's not careful. Josh Murray has to go. It's simple as that.
Okay, we've got Racing Dreams coming on in about an hour and a half. One of the greatest shows on television.
Indeed. I'll be watching.
But the reason why I say that is to segue to the next topic. One of the big problems for me, and I suppose I've got self-interest at heart here, is the date of the Voice referendum. It's on the day of the Everest. The Everest, would you put something like that on Melbourne Cup Day?
Well, you are very partisan, aren't you? It's got to be.
You're ATC chairman, so
we can live with the Voice.
We're on this horse together. But I just...
You are a purist, aren't you? You're not happy. Just vote early. During the week, postal vote. And by the way, at this stage, the Voice is lost. It's lost. I'm surprised. Yeah. I've spoken to Labor insiders. It's lost. It's not going to get to 50% of the popular vote. They're still hoping they can recover it, but it's more hope than confidence.
Should have picked another date, shouldn't they? Oh, come on.
All right, I'll ring the Prime Minister on your behalf.
Can you get Albo, mate?
Horse racing comes first.
Please, it does. Yeah, the sport of kings. Now, cost of living. Let's talk seriously about this, because I was chatting with a few guys during the week, work in the insolvency space. Retail is really facing a tough battle the next 8 to 10 months.
But that's what the Reserve Bank intended and government policy supports. They wanted to stop us spending, so we've stopped spending, and hospitality and food and beverage is feeling it too. It's tough out there, Tim, as you well know, and you correctly raised the issue. Families are doing it tough. There's 3 issues that are keeping inflation high: renters, electricity, and interest rates. They're the 3. Now, food's coming down, believe it or not, because we've had bumper crops in vegetables and fruit. But it's still stubbornly high inflation. Wages inflation is keeping it high. Oh, we're not out of the woods.
Oh, absolutely. You just go through shopping malls and you see signs on windows closed on Mondays because we can't staff, we can't operate. Yep. So, yeah, look, fingers crossed it's not as bad as what a lot of people are expecting, because it's going to be a very, very difficult passage towards Christmas and beyond. Always good to see you.
Thanks, Tim.
We'll do it again next week.
Indeed.